What's going on, world? It's your man Pat Season. I'm out here early this morning, man. I'm trying to get it. I got a couple things I got going on. One of which is a meet and greet style meeting today, and I'm gonna be doing a lecture for some kids, man, to try to inspire them to be entrepreneurs. It's gonna be a good look. I just left the gas station and was getting something to roll out with, man, and I ended up talking to this person there that pull up in this new whip. I was like, oh snap, you know what I'm saying? Look at you, you done came up, this yours? And old girl was like, yeah. I'm like, cool, you know what I'm saying? That's good. So what happened to the other one that you had? She had a raggedy whip, you know, and but she wasn't making no payments on it. It was paid for, but it needed work. And y'all know I'm a mechanic, so of course, for me, it's like, okay, well, you know, I'm for one, I'm gonna put you on game to what's actually good for you. I'm not one of them mechanics who's gonna try to sell you a pipe dream on whatever it is that you have just to make sure that you come back to me. I don't work like that, because that doesn't make repeat customers for the long haul, and I'm in it for the marathon. So she tells me this is her whip, it's new. I was like, damn, well, it's nice, congratulations, you know, so you got rid of the other one? She's like, yeah, I sold it for pennies, whatever, I just needed to get off of it so I can get this. I was like, well, did you have anything saved up? Because the last time we talked, I was working on her car actually, and I told her that she should just save money and then try to get something else, or save money and fix this one. Which one of the two you want to do, it's up to you. And so when I'm talking to her, I'm looking at the car and I'm like, you making payments? And she's like, yeah, I'm making payments. I'm like, oh man, okay, well, what's your payments? She says $250 bi-weekly. I'm like, whoa, man, the car payment, $250 bi-weekly? She's like, yeah, you know, but I had to do something. You know, the car was giving me a lot of problems, blase. Now, it's no problem with having to do something, man. Listen, you gotta get you gotta get around, and I'm in a small town right now. You got to be able to get around 110% with it, right? What I'm not with is the fact that when I asked this individual, could you get some money saved up? Could you get a bag? Could you figure something else out? She said no. But then turns around and starts making a $500 payment a month. Instead of being able to put that $500 down to the side and then stack your bread up, she's making it towards, or she's paying it towards a car that is gonna lose the value. She says she's only paying it for a few years and then it's gonna be over with. And I'm like, that's cool. But what it really made me realize is, that's what I'm telling you. That's a poor person's decision. Now, I'm not rich by that stretch of the imagination. I'm hood rich, if anything. It's a rich within itself. But I don't claim to be rich. I don't claim to be, you know, big balling and all that. I own a couple things. I got a little bit, you know, whatever put to the side, but it ain't even about that. What it's about is the simple fact that poor people make poor decisions, and this is why poor people remain poor, and rich people continue to get rich because they make rich decisions. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean that instead of what a rich person would have done in that situation is save that money, save that and then two, you making payments, so you got to get full coverage on the car. So let's just say she's only paying $100 a month for insurance. I know it's way more than that, but that makes your total now at liability column filled with a $600 a month obligation just for that. Rich person would have tried to hang on to that car and put that $600 away, and you got it's just, I'm better at math than what I'm about to make this look like, but I just want to illustrate. I'm pulling out my calculator, and so let's say $600 a month times, if you did that for 1 year, that is $7,200. $7,200 you could save in 1 year. And she says she's gonna be making this payment for 3 to 5 years. And this is not including interest. If she only makes that payment for 3 years, she's paying $21,600, okay? If you add another, let's go back, 7,200 times 5 years. If she pays this, I just spit on the camera. She pays this for 5 years, that is $36,000. Some people don't even make that in a year. $36,000 for a car that's probably only worth $14,000 to $15,000. By that time she pays it off, it's gonna be worth about $3 to $5 grand. That's what I'm talking about. And so that's a poor people decision. You don't want to feel, if you're gonna make payments on something, it just makes more sense to make payments on something that either produces or adds in value instead of takes away and lowers itself in value. Cars will never appreciate in value. Like when people talk about having, you know, I have a homeboy who's got an old school Chevy, and he swears his car he can go to the bank and get money out of it and, you know, refinance and all. I'm like, no, you can't. No, you can't. Like, it doesn't work like that. If you pulled up in a brand new one, oh yeah, they'll refinance shit. They'll give you a lower interest rate and all this stuff, and you could borrow against it. But it don't, even at that, you don't want to be trying to borrow against something that's depreciating, unless it's at an extremely low rate that is depreciating, or you already have the means to pay it back. So for instance, a house doesn't necessarily lose value, but it doesn't necessarily go up in value. It kind of stays the same. I mean, you could do work, you could do renovations and stuff like that. That's cool, but it don't necessarily help the value. It just kind of makes it mediate, or it comes in comparison to the comps around. Like, you're not gonna be, it's crazy to think that you're gonna live in a neighborhood where everybody's house is $100,000 and then you're gonna have a house worth $500,000. It's very possible, but for one, it's stupid because it means the average person in the neighborhood couldn't afford that house. And two, well, I mean, it's a lot of bad, actually. Property tax is gonna be a lot higher and so on and so forth. But it doesn't make sense, is what I'm getting at, to take money that you barely have and pour it into a liability. Now, I don't know how many of y'all have read Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've read this book, I swear to God, probably like 12 times, maybe more. I love that book. It's so real and it's so raw and it's so simple to understand that this is why rich people get rich and why poor people get poor. I'm not rich yet, but I say yet because it's coming. I'm continuously pouring into the asset column until the liabilities are paid for by the assets, not by my physical work. This person that I'm talking about in this example works a regular job, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that you gotta be an entrepreneur. It'd be nice if the whole world was. And like I say, we all kind of are entrepreneurs in some way, form, or fashion, but you just don't want to take, when you tell me that you can't save any money, but then you tell me that you can go and make a payment, that's the type of temperance that's going to keep you poor forever. There's a difference between poor and being broke. When I first talked to the old girl, she was broke, and now she's made a poor person's decision. And that's the type of stuff that leaves you poor. So just take it from somebody who's an entrepreneur and can see this. And this is the reason why I toot about being a tout. This is why I encourage entrepreneurship, because it makes you think differently. Yeah, you think completely differently than the mainstream people. Like, you go get a job, and don't get me wrong, if people who had jobs knew, what entrepreneurs knew, they could get ahead so much faster, only because